So hey everybody, welcome to the Strategy and Soul Revolutionary Bookstore here in South Central Los Angeles at the corner of King and Crenshaw, one of the most historic corners. It's like 125th Street and Lenox or Malcolm X in Harlem. So I'm Eric Mann. I'm the co-director of the Strategy Center. I'm also director of this bookstore because I pick virtually every book in here. It's a journey through Black and Third World revolutionary books, always focusing on what are you going to do about it. We don't have a lot of books on criticism here. Not that criticism isn't good, but we want to make you feel like revolution is possible. So I guess we start with my book, Comrade George, an investigation into the life, political thought, and assassination of George Jackson when I was a prisoner for a year and a half. Because of demonstrations against the war in Vietnam. So then we come over here into the books that I've written. Of course, this is the first book I read, really, that shaped my life. So With That Brother by George Jackson. And of course, my book is about George Jackson. And I read George Jackson when I was in prison, so you can come and get that. Then I wrote Katrina's Legacy. I wrote it twice, once right after the Katrina hurricane in 2005. I came back in 2015 because I was now focusing on climate and the people of the world confront the U.S. imperialist white settler state of genocidal climate crimes. So those are not easy words to say, but we think the United States and England and Europe are creating world genocide because of their admissions. So this is one of my favorites. It's called Playbook for Progressives, the 16 Qualities of the Successful Organizer, which says if you want to care about all this, you better be good at what you do. So this is my book. There's another book I wrote called Dispatches from Durban when I was at the World Conference Against Racism. And this is a great book. Well, funny I say it's a great book since I wrote it, called Taking on General Motors. I spent 10 years in the auto factories, and I built a movement that kept the plant open for 10 years. So books are part of consciousness. Consciousness is part of revolution. We've lost the reading tradition. So these are all my friends. The books are my friends. You know the book, you've seen the film Fences by August Wilson, one of my super favorite playwrights. Oh, and this is another version of Fences. Oh, good, the piano lesson, which I saw on Broadway. It's really great. This is very cool. It's called the August Wilson Cycle. Almost all his books are set in Pittsburgh. All 10 of them. What a phenomenal gift to give somebody. Detroit, I Do More in Dying, about the League of Revolutionary Black Workers. So I was an auto worker taking on General Motors. And this was an amazing breakthrough in Black auto workers who challenged the UAW, called it U8 Might, and challenged General Motors as well. This is a more mainstream book called The Sixth Extinction, an unnatural history by Elizabeth Colbert. But let me tell you that the sixth extinction is the one that we're making right now. This is the first one that humans are going to make to create a mass extinction. Now, come on over to the kids' books for a little bit, or the children's books. Again, the bookstore is open for everybody, people of all races, all ages. But a common theme, Black authors, African authors. So there's a great How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Know that Dr. Seuss was not Black, but he was very cool. Tar Beach by Faith Ringgold. Asian Americans A to Z. I guess a lot of you know these books. Celeste, Harlem Renaissance. We Are the Water Protectors. This is one of my favorites. It's called Grandpa Starts a War. No, Grandpa Stops a War. The great Paul Robeson was in the Spanish Civil War, if you can imagine, and the Loyalists were fighting against the fascists. And when Paul Robeson came, he sang so beautifully that for one day, all the soldiers stopped fighting to just listen to him. So it's called Grandpa Stops a War. Mufaro's Beautiful Daughters, Lullaby, In the Time of the Drums, very serious book, beautiful book. Last Stop on Market Street. The Watsons go to Birmingham, and then of course, it's not a children's book, but it's just one of my favorites. Raising the Sun by the amazing Louise Hansberry. By the amazing Lorraine Hansberry. Okay, I'm not going to take you to the whole bookstore, but I just want to bring some more friends of mine with you. So here's one of my best friends, W.E.B. Du Bois. His most important book is Black Reconstruction in America. You just got to read that book, okay? That's about how black slaves rose up and helped the North win the Civil War, how they created what was called Reconstruction from 1865 to 1872, and then how all the whites got together and overthrew Reconstruction and sent black people back into slavery. It's a rough book to read. Here's a great one, Du Bois data portraits, visualizing Black America. And here, this was at the World Trade Center. He started developing graphics to show black oppression by artistic graphs. You know, how do you get graphs that would, occupations of Georgia Negroes, acres of land owned by Negroes in Georgia, land owned by Negroes in Georgia, 1870, 1900. So he used visualizing Black America. He used statistics, turned it into graphs, turned it into pictures, another way of convincing people about the oppression of black people in the United States. Now, there's many great books by him, but you need to know that his wife, who is Shirley Graham, before she became Shirley Graham Du Bois, was an artist, dancer, writer on her own stage. And she wrote There Once Was a Slave by Frederick Douglass. We got this out of a used bookstore. Dr. George Washington Carver, the first scientist. And she did, interestingly, a biography of her own husband. His Day is Marching On, a memoir of W.E.B. Du Bois. Then we have a biography of Shirley Graham Du Bois by Gerald Horne called Race Woman. We have a lot of books about black women, Claudia Jones, left of Karl Marx, Black International Feminism. We got that. Another Claudia Jones, she was a West Indian revolutionary. This is her own book, Beyond Containment. Where you get it, right? You got to come to Strategy and Soul 3546, Martin Luther King. I'm not going to tell you all the rest of my friends, but I got one bunch of friends I want to talk to you about because they're very important. You know, the black communist tradition in the 1930s was so profound because black people who had always fought for liberation, but now they were fighting for socialism and joining the Communist Party. So first you had Louise Thompson Patterson, A Life of Struggle for Justice. What a dynamic communist speaker she was. Then there's Letters from Langston, who's Langston Hughes, the great poet, who was very friendly. It was edited by Evelyn Louise Crawford and Mary Louise Patterson. Mary Louise Patterson is the daughter of Louise Thompson Patterson and William L. Patterson, who is also the subject of the book Black Revolutionary. And then William L. Patterson wrote the book The Man Who Cried Genocide. He also wrote We Charge Genocide Against the United States. So, the Open Veins of Latin America. Gotta read that. Indigenous Peoples' History in the United States. I think the point is that why didn't they let the slaves read? Why were they so afraid? Why did Frederick Douglass learn to read under his master's nose, write all those autobiographies? Because books are critical to consciousness. Consciousness is critical to action. And action is critical, but you have to have a strategy. So come enjoy our family. Come enjoy a lot of these great books. And thanks for hanging around with me. You're at Strategy and Soul Bookstore, 3546 Martin Luther King Boulevard. And as I said, come on in, have a cup of coffee, or you can talk to us online and we'll mail you the books. I'm Eric Mann. It's one of my favorite places. Real nice to talk to you.